In 1986, Olivetti released their first AT computer. It was with the Intel 8286, and with that one, this keyboard arrived. This is an AT keyboard, but it's not, accordingly to the IBM standard for an AT keyboard, an AT keyboard. Nevertheless, it runs under the AT protocol. This keyboard I have cleaned, and the name of the keyboard is just ANK 2886. But what's the fun in this keyboard? Well, I have another one of them. And let me just briefly show you how dirty this one is. It's even missing a key. So we have to open this one up, and then we have to clean it. And I'll walk through it. Just a heads up on this keyboard, you need to follow through the whole video because this is gonna be a little bit complicated. So before we open this one up to clean it, I just briefly wanna show you some of the outer stuff. So this looks like a normal XT keyboard with function keys down here. But as I said, this is driven by an AT, the IBM AT keyboard standard. Why Olivetti decided to make an XT keyboard with an AT standard, I don't know. It still runs under the DIN 9, where you have the 5 pins in the top. So this keyboard can also be connected to the Olivetti M24 and Olivetti M24 SP. Let me just briefly turn it around so I can explain how to use the stands. Sorry, there we go. So the stands are here, and as you can see, there's an arrow on it. And the idea is you pull this way. It has three levels. So this is level 1. And when you move it, this is then level 2. And up here, this is then level 3. In there is now a screw that we need to attack later on. And obviously, on this side, there's a screw too. And one down there, and one down there, and one up here. Once we have taken the screws out, there are also small hinges that we need to use a screwdriver to get the casing off. But let me just take this and let's open it up. So I removed the 5 screws as I showed you, and I now have a flat screwdriver. And in order to click out the cover after you remove the screws, you have a hinge here, a hinge here, a hinge up there, and over there, and over there. And you just, sorry, you need to see it. There we go. So it's just punching in and then very gentle pull the lead up. Don't do it down here at the bottom because that's not needed. You can just then lift it up and it just slides off, and that reveals the back of the cabinet for the keyboard. After that, we can take out the actual keyboards, and we have the top casing here. Let's put this aside, and then it reveals the keyboard for us. This plastic hinge is actually the one that covers this area up here, and I have no clue about what this connector is good for, but when we looked at the keyboard 1 and keyboard 2, we know or saw that it actually has a built-in mouse connector. So I will assume this is somehow related to that kind of connection as to having an external mouse. But I never seen anything regarding it, and the casing from the outside doesn't even give us any clue that you could connect a mouse into this area. So I'm not sure about that. But here we have the keyboard, and we now need to get rid of the keys so we can soak this in water together with all the outer casing. So let me just get the tool, although it's not that much needed because they are very easy to pull out, but you should use a tool to do that. So let me just take all the keys out and then come back to you so we can look at the actual mechanics of the keyboard itself. So I removed almost all keys, and the reason why I now are showing you this is because these 5 keys have a special thing about them. So this is one of the things that you need to be aware of when you are pulling up the keys. So let me start by the shift key over here, and let me explain to you why this is different. So here we have the shift keys. Yes, it's extremely dirty. So all these keys, they now have these stands, metal stands on them. And obviously they are fragile, so we need to be careful when we pull them out. Another thing you need to remember, all of the keys on the keyboard, those 5, have different ones of these. So you need to remember which key goes to which of the metallic things. So let me just press it back, and then I should be able to pull it out. This goes for all of them, but obviously you cannot wash them, so you cannot wash it together. So you need to take this aside and know which one goes to which one. The space bar has just the long one, which we know from all space bars, and it can also be pulled out. So let me do this. So that's the space bar, again, extremely dirty. And the metal pin is here. And if you push, let me see, I hope you can see it. So if you push here, there's a lever. And this lever, if you move this away, you can just open this up and it just take this one out. So this goes up here. Let me move the keyboard a little bit in. The enter key over here has the same as the shift key, well, the rest one has, and it also comes up. But again, this is different. And you need to remember also, I probably didn't show you, which way it's bending when you take it out and when you have to take them back in again. So write it down or take small pictures of it. So that goes over here, and this one goes over there. Let's take the key 0 here. There we go. And the last one is the enter key here. These 2 last ones, so let me take this one down. So the 0 and the enter key, these are mirror of each other. Let me see if I can make a good photo. They are a mirror of each other. So remember which one goes to which one when you assemble the keyboard back. This gives us now this keyboard. And there is a plastic membrane here. Sorry, it was out of focus again. So there's a plastic membrane that we carefully need to lift out, and hopefully again it can be seen on the camera. The plastic membrane, if I take this down again, the stands have a little bit of a widening over here that pulls over the plastic membrane. So you need to pull it out of that, and hopefully you can see that there's room underneath it where the membrane then goes. So let me also now take this one out. There are two, well, sorry, they're not two, but that should do the trick. It's very dirty. So if I put it over here, so again, just to show you the stands, although it's very dirty. So some of them have the hinge down there in this area. Some of them have it over here and some of them have it over there. So it's not all the same way. So you need to wiggle it a bit when you try to take this one off. There we go. Also the pile of stuff that needs to be washed. Now comes this area, and in order to get this keyboard off, you have to turn it around and you have to unscrew all these screws, pull out this one and unscrew up there. And once that's done, this metal plate can be lifted off, and then we will see the board underneath it. It will come to us. We'll see that one under there. And then there's another thing we need to be very careful about. So let me unscrew this and let's come back to that then. So I've taken all the screws out. And when you unscrew this one up here, you end up with these three falling out on the bottom. And we need to be careful where we put these. So they go up here again. So I know they're up there. And then we can lift this metal plate. And remember we have this up here. So we need to lift it so we don't break this one. And I unhooked the cable. So it should be possible to take this one off now. Very carefully up here. There we go. So that reveals this plate. That also needs to be dusted off, but let's do that later on. So we now have the PCB for the keyboard. And before I unhook this plastic area with all the plunges in it, it's important, let me start by explaining, you do that by twisting these two inside and two over here. When I do this, the keys will then also fall out when you turn it around. And before we do all this, this is once again one of the weird things with this keyboard, which is why I want you to pay attention. Sorry. There are 4 different kinds of keys in this area, the plunges. When they fall out, I'll show you the 4 of them. So this is why it's important where things go, but I will explain where they are placed. So let me start by open this one up, and this one over here, that then takes the PCB away from us, and we can then afterwards clean this. So I'll put this over here, and now we have, sorry, I can see that the rubber dome that actually plunges on and makes connection. So let me turn it around. Let me do it like this. So when the key are pressing down here, obviously this goes out. Sorry, there we are in focus. This goes out like this and makes the connection on the board itself. So when we clean these, we need to be very careful not to do any harm to those connections. So let me take this up there, and let me take this out here. Same thing, this is just gray, where the other one is dark gray. Now comes the weird part. Well, the things where you need to be careful. First of all, remember this is upside down, so this is the numeric key area. And on the keyboard, we have some lightings up there. They are these three lightings. There are also one here and one there. They fall off. So you just move them up and then you have it. So they go off first. There we go. If I push from behind on this one, this falls off. And this falls off. They can only be pushed in one way. And the connection is over there. So when you see that it has these hinges, it can only go this way. And they are all the same, so it doesn't matter which way. That leaves us to this. And these are the stands that pushes in. And I just want to, when I turn this around, they will obviously fall out. But there are 4 different ones. The minority are these. Sorry, there we go. Are these. And let me just take all of them out and find the 4 different ones, and I will explain to you what I mean. So they just fall out like this. Well, most of them fall out. I have one that's stuck up there, so let me find a screwdriver. There we go. Yes. So let me see if I can find 4 of them, the 4 different ones. So here 2, this is number 3, and where's the 4th one? Is that this one? No. So I organized them, and sorry, not 4 different kinds, but only 3. So I think I got confused that it's 4 of these, 4 of these, and then the rest of these. So let me start by the minority of them, those that we have the most of. And let me find something to point with. So I hope we can see this. There's a left and a right side. Sorry, there we go. There's a left and a right side on these. How do I? Over here, there's a small plastic thing, and it doesn't exist on this side. So there's a left and a right side on this one. These are the minority. I'll show you where they go and why this is important to know about this thing. Then we have these that have 4 hinges. And then we have those that have like this shape. Okay, so let me bring forward where they belong. And hopefully it's possible for you to see in the keyboard. So this is where the normal keys are sitting, those that I have here. And I hope you can see that there's like a hole here. And then there's one over there. And then there's one over there. And then there's one over there. So this one where there's a left and a right side, that needs to go into that hole when we assemble it. Like this, and not the other way around. So let me take this one out. So that's this part. Then we have those that are like a cross. And those with a cross, let me find it. They go here, for instance. So, as you can see, there's a small one and a thicker one. And the small part goes here and the thick part goes here. So this goes like this. And punches in like this. Okay. The last one, which is this one, which then goes, need to locate them. There we go. So there's one up there. As you can see, it's a long one here. It's whitened there. Sorry, need to be in focus. I need to look at the camera also. So there, it has to be there. So this plunge goes this way. Okay, so that should be it. We need to remember which plunger goes. When I assemble it again, I usually start by all of these. And then once I've done all of these, I have a free spaces left, and then I can actually figure out which goes where. And then at the end, I then plunge in these, which are the lightings. So that's this part. So let me now clean all of it, and then we'll have to assemble it back again. And just briefly before I assemble it, I just want to shout out all the numbers that I see here. So here it says 646045H ENCA 187. This is a NEC, and it's called a D8749 HD. And here we have a clock of 6, just like all the other keyboards. So again, let me just clean this. No need for you to see me cleaning all of this. You have seen that a few other times. So let me just do that, and then we'll assemble it again. So everything is clean, washed and dried off. And the plunger, I've put all of them back in where they belong, including the 5 lights. So let's assemble it. The first thing is obviously these domes needs to be put in. This is the thing that makes the connection. Sorry. And it goes like this. And then the numeric keyboard goes like this. And then this board goes like this, and then it with these hinges and 2 over there also, they need to clip into these holes, and that should keep it together. Like this. So now I should be able to turn around without losing anything. And I can move the screwdrivers away. I kept the screwdrivers here, so when I put in the plunges it was easier. So next up is this rubber shield that also needs to go in. And that can be a little bit of a pain to get in. I need to turn it the right way, because as you saw when I took it off, it needs to go under that level that's on all of the key stands here. So let me just show you that I use tweezer to get them underneath. And once that's done, we'll continue. Let me do this in fast mode. So it's all in. Next up are the keys with this metal stapler. And I paired them up, so I know exactly where each of them go. So let's just start by spacebar. Perfect. Let me just put in the rest of the keys and then we'll cut to that. So all the keys are back in. Obviously not the one that's broken off, and I don't have the number 1 up here. So it'll have to be like this. It's all in and it's nice. So we have to turn it around again. And then we have to screw in this back plane. And we need to remember when we're doing the back plane, it has to go underneath this, and we need to be careful, and then we need to screw that back in. The 3 things that we need for that, I have them over here. So there they are. So it goes like this, and then like this, and then it falls in here where it should. And then we need to connect this one over here, like this. And then let me screw everything in. You just need to find wherever the screws can be and then take it from there. And the screws are all here. So let me do that. All done. Note to myself, next time I need to make a marking on this board where all the screws are in, because I was struggling finding the right places to screw them in. If I can look through it, then it's usually where there's room for a screw. So with that done, the only thing that's left is the casing. So let's put it in the casing. And goes like this. And then before I put on the lid, I just need to locate the plastic cover that goes here, which I have here. So that goes in like this, like this. There we go. And then this goes on it, and as I talked about the hinges down here in this area, just put it in like this, and then it should actually more or less fall down, more or less. Just need to have the lights going in where they need to be, so we don't do that. There we go. That's it. And then let's just quickly screw in the screws. And once that's done, let me then connect the computer. Let me put the Olivetti M28 up on the table, and then let's connect it to it so we can test to see if it's actually working. So let me do that. So I would say all that's left is, now that it's hooked to the computer, let's turn it on and see if we are getting any errors. I already pre-tested it, so I know that all the keys are working. So we are up and running with this Olivetti keyboard. It's the ANK 2886. So if you liked it, you know, it's this one or else that one. And please do subscribe. This way you get notified when I'm releasing new videos. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for now. And my name is Tybo, and goodbye.